The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Happiness Jungle with yours truly, the Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. I cannot tell you how spiritually excited I am, how just internally excited I am to share with you our guest today on our show. April Adams is one of the most fun, inspiring, uplifting women I have ever had the encounter to get to know on Facebook. We haven't even met yet, have we?
Nope.
So can you see why? This picture alone says fun, inspiring, energetic, and definitely a game changer. Hi, April.
Hello.
Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
The first thing that I'm inspired to do, which I don't know why right now, but I give these hearts out all over the world, and I really want to give you the heart first because there's something very special and unique about you, and I'm excited. And the reason that I've asked you to be a part of our show because there are viewers that are watching us right now that I know you are going to give them actions to change their lives, no doubt.
Yes.
I am excited because I get to be your student now for the next 25 minutes. Can you share with everybody your why, your passion, and take it away because cracking the longing code, this is yum. This is crazy. So, hi, April.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, so my passion at this point is really just helping people to get out of their own way, mentally and emotionally. I had started out, my own issues have been around my romantic life. So that's really what kind of got me on this path and got me moving in this direction because I've always been very obsessed with my romantic life and what that looks like and devastated if it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. And so it started me on the path to energy healing and metaphysics and spirituality and all of that.
Right.
But the more that I've gotten into that and the more that I've developed my intuition, the more my guides were telling me to focus on the subconscious mind and to focus on the brain. Because you clear something in the brain, you clear something in the subconscious mind, and it works on all levels. It heals you physically, it heals you emotionally, it heals you energetically. So it covers all the bases to be able to get you to a place of peace and calm and comfort. And honestly, it was the thing that finally unlocked my issue as well. Because I was working through layer after layer after layer after layer of my issue.
Right. So when you say your issue, because there's somebody who's watching the show and they're thinking, well, what issue does she have? You know, what is she talking about? Because remember, we're all about touching somebody in the audience. So I'm not going to ask you to share anything that you don't want to.
I don't mind.
I want you to be as transparent as you want to, but go a little bit deeper than that. Yeah.
So I've always been literally devastated whenever the honeymoon phase of a relationship ends. That is, it's always been my favorite part of a relationship, the only time I've ever really felt happy, fulfilled, alive. So
was that the new part of the honeymoon?
So, well, I mean, you know, when the first year and a half of a relationship, when you're all over each other and you're just gaga over each other and you're doing all of these wonderful things for each other, there's pleasure chemicals rushing through your body. All of that was so important to me. And every major relationship I was in, the other person would start to get comfortable and I'd be sitting over there going, what happened? Why are we not still in that honeymoon phase? And why doesn't anyone else need this? You know, because I mean, I'm like, I need this.
I like it.
I don't understand why other people don't need this the way that I do.
I know you're touching my soul right now.
So that's what led me into doing all
Okay.
of the work that I do. So, you know, I mean, I did mindfulness work around this. I learned about codependency and cleared some of those issues. I'm sure I was addicted to the pleasure chemicals that came with it. So, you know, some of the work that I did was specifically to clear those issues. There was a level of withdrawal, I think, going through, you know. So
I like that. A level of withdrawal. Yes.
yeah. But it felt so painful just having to go through that again and again and again, because no matter what I did, no matter how mindful I became, no matter how much work I did on my addictive tendencies, no matter how much energy work or spirituality work, how much I connected with my higher self, how much I helped other people, I still, whenever I interacted with my partner, there was this loop of thoughts going through my head every single time, which was, why aren't you all over me? Why aren't we having sex more often? Why aren't you flirting with me? It was just like every single time, just this incessant thing. And, you know, I mean, sometimes I would be in a good place and I could redirect it, or I could ignore it or whatever. And other times it would get the best of me and this tidal wave would come over me and I would just let myself get lost in that loop of thoughts again. So
now while you were doing that, because I'm visualizing this, I think I've lived it. I know I've lived it. I know I have. And so, but while you're thriving for that attention, your partner is sitting there going, everything is really great. What is wrong with you?
Exactly.
I mean, can't you just chill out? I love you. I'm right here. I mean, we're even like touching toes.
Yes.
Is that what I'm sensing?
Oh yeah, exactly.
So you and I have self-sabotaged the love that was really being our foundation.
Right.
Okay, just getting clarity here.
Absolutely. So after all this work, I finally got exposed to a tool that actually works for clearing programming. This tool is called PS Tech, PSTEC. People can find it at pstec.org. And it's basically every brain reprogramming tool combined into an 11-minute track. So you've got...
What is this called?
PS Tech, PSTEC. And it's .org. So they combine hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming and bilateral stimulation and stimulation of the meridians for energy. Like, it covers everything. So, and also, traditional hypnosis is about relaxing the conscious mind enough to get it out of the way to access the subconscious. But that only works on about 70 or 80% of the population. Because a lot of people are too cerebral, they're too scientific, they're too busy in their heads to be able to relax enough to have traditional hypnosis work on them. But there's another kind of hypnosis, which is distraction hypnosis, where you distract the conscious mind so much you're able to access the subconscious mind. And that works on everyone. Every single person in the world can be absolutely hypnotized through distraction hypnosis. So this computer programmer turned hypnotherapist designed this program by including everything that could possibly reprogram your mind into one 11-minute track. So I was finding success with this in general things, but I was still struggling with, how do I clear my romantic life issue? You know, I would sit there and try to think the thoughts like, why aren't we having more sex? Why aren't you all over me? You know, while I was listening to the track, and that wasn't quite getting to the bottom of it. It wasn't clearing the issue. And then I came upon this other book called The Erotic Mind. And it's a sex therapist who helps people figure out their regular everyday issues through their sex lives and vice versa. And what he has you do, because all of us as humans try to get the emotional needs that weren't fulfilled when we were children fulfilled now through our sex lives. So he has you write down your top 2 favorite sexual memories and your top 2 favorite sexual fantasies. And then you boil those down to what are the emotional needs that are getting met in those moments. And for me, every single one was wanted, being wanted in a big way. Wow. And, you know, I mean, it's not always the same for everybody. Some people have something different for everyone,
Sure.
an emotional need that would be met. And so, you know, I asked when I got down to the bottom of, like, wanted, I was like, when was the first time you were unwanted? The classic psychology question.
Right.
When was the first time? Did your parents want you? And this huge light bulb goes off over my head because I was an unwanted pregnancy. And so at the very moment of, you know, being discovered that I was in existence,
wow,
there was this emotional charge of no, we don't want you. Now, by the time I was born, I was completely loved and accepted and welcomed into the family. There was never like, I don't want you, go away. You know, there was never anything like that. However, and you know, you wouldn't think that it was still having an emotional effect on me, but clearly it was. Because I was going around going, want me, want me, want me, want me, want me, want me. And all of those thoughts in my head when I was interacting with my partner, it was basically asking, why aren't you proving you want me? That's all I wanted, but I didn't know it. I thought it was about the sex. I thought it was about the newness and the freshness and all of that, and it was about the being wanted. So then I used PS Tech to think about every time that I had ever felt unwanted. And I thought about it in a timeline. So I listened to the recording, you know, like one set of the recording, and thought about I was an unwanted pregnancy. My parents got divorced when I was 1, so I probably thought my dad didn't want me. And then I had to play by myself a lot, so I probably thought my mom didn't want me. And then I would flirt with 5-year-old boys to try to get attention, and they didn't want any part of that, so they didn't want me. And then all my romantic partners would end the honeymoon phase first, so they didn't want me. So, and I used the emotional charge, because what you're supposed to do is think about the thing that bothers you,
Yes.
like think your negative thought or memory, and feel your emotions around that while you're listening to this track. And so I felt the emotional charge from the more recent rejections, because that's where your emotions are. I mean, I clearly had no emotional charge or judgment around having been an unwanted pregnancy or the divorce. Like, that had long since been processed. And so consciously for me, that had nothing. You know, I was like, of course, who wants to be pregnant when they're 17? You know, so there was no, you know, resistance to that on a conscious level, but subconsciously I had taken that as I'm unwanted. And then everything I did in my life was just reflecting back to me, unwanted, 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 because that's the belief I was running.
That is amazing. Wow.
So, you know, I did that. And then I said, you know, we'll see if this works. You know, I hope it will, but whatever, because I've tried a bazillion other things and nothing's ever fixed this. And, you know.
Right, exactly.
The next time I was interacting with my partner, I, about 3/4 of the way through the conversation, realized that those thoughts weren't playing in my head at all anymore. They just had completely disappeared, and I was having a normal, natural conversation with none of that playing under the surface. And just noticing how much more relaxed and open we were with each other right away.
And did your partner notice? Or was it more
energetically,
you
I
noticed?
think, you know, I mean, it certainly kind of opened things up a little bit more.
Sure.
It relaxed things a little more in our interactions.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there was any kind of conscious recognition of it.
Right.
But a level of boundary that had been put up. Because anytime you're pushing yourself on someone, I need you, I need this from you, they will
Human
put the door
nature.
down, you know? And so once I stopped pushing, the door went away.
Yeah.
And it was all playing out energetically and subconsciously, but I could tell that that was shifting. And it certainly has made major changes in our relationship. But the unexpected side effect is that also I've wanted to be famous my whole life. And that disappeared too.
Oh.
I was like, I don't care. You know, if it happens so I can help millions of people, great.
Right.
But otherwise, like before, it was this need that I had to get recognition, to be wanted by the public.
Wow. So that
And now,
really, that.
you know, it's just, that's out of the way. So if it's meant to be, if that's something that, you know, would be for the highest good, then that can come. But
Exactly.
I'm not desperate for it. I'm not dying for it, you know.
And then.
So the workbook.
Because you are famous now. You know that. You do know that. I hope you recognize that. You may not
Thank you.
want it anymore, but because you don't want it and you allowed it to come naturally, because it's in you spiritually, it has come and it is coming. So look at that. Look at all of those things, because that's exactly what I share with my audience. I want everybody to understand this. You have let go of that poison, of that desire to be wanted. And you have allowed people now and things to flow into your life freely. And I think now you take things at a more, not such a personal level.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Very calming.
Absolutely.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And that's
not,
a lot
that's
of the
not meant to
work.
hurt me.
Yeah, that's a lot of the work I've been doing over the last year or two, is just kind of clearing all of those judgments of other people and taking that so deeply and personally.
Yeah, can I ask you something
Yes.
personally? Because people think that because we're mentors and we have succeeded in certain things, that we still don't need help. And I think that that is just such a false alignment. And I know that I love and I gravitate. I even said it, I want to be your student because you have so much to offer me. I invest in myself because I know that I want to grow. Free things do not help us grow. So I want everyone to realize that I love everything that you stand for, and that even you and where you are you done growing?
No. I sure hope not.
Exactly.
Imagine how boring
Can
life
you
would be if
imagine?
you were done.
Yeah. So just like you, I love to fill myself with the workshops and the things that I really get to sink myself into. And I value that. And I know that this workshop is because you have invested in yourself to grow.
Right.
And I know for me that it's going to hold so much value that I can't wait to invest in this. Before we go any further, I know my audience is like, how do we get a hold of April? Okay, can you just share with them real quick?
Sure.
How do they get a hold of you?
So my website is apriladams.org, and all 3 of my books are available on Amazon. So I've written a Metaphysical 101 kind of book called Essence. I've written a book of channeled messages about surviving the shift, this big crazy roller coaster we're going through on the planet right now. So that was all divine guidance that I got last year regarding how to kind of stay sane while we go through the shift, called Less Logic, More Wisdom, and then Crack the Longing Code. So they're all
Are they more like
on
a journal?
Amazon. Sort of.
I think so.
To some
I could
extent.
feel that,
Yeah,
you know?
it's separate entries for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like I know that all of my books that are out there, it's my journal.
Right. Exactly.
It just in
all
third-party
3 of them
forms,
have
really.
definitely been, this is my journey,
Yeah.
this is what has helped me. So hopefully it will help you too. If you're drawn to
Yeah.
it, you know, that's
I like
something
that.
that'll help.
A lot of people say, well, how come you don't call it fiction nonfiction? I said, because it's a journey. It really is. It's that biography of a journey.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to gravitate towards. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Absolutely.
Your partner resonates with, what does your partner do?
Math teacher. High school math.
There we go.
Yeah.
So many people.
Completely opposite line of work to.
I love that. What age does she teach?
All levels of high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. That's intense.
Yeah.
And I want people to realize that you could have 2 different worlds during the day.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
And I mean, honestly, it kind of grounds me to have someone at home who's not looking to talk about metaphysics or healing or any of that stuff, because I talk about that all day long at work, and I don't want to go home and, do that.
Yeah.
It's, just like she doesn't want to come home and still
Teach you
continue
math.
teaching, I mean, sometimes she tries to teach me math, but.
Right. What's your favorite part of the workbook?
I really, there are actual pages in there to fill out to be able to go through the exact step-by-step process that I went through. But aside from just what it helped me with, because I know it confuses a lot of people that the solution is kind of sexual and my issue was kind of sexual, but they're not. That doesn't matter.
Right.
Your issue could be about work. Your issue could be, with your family. It doesn't matter.
It's your addiction.
Right. So you know, you still looking at your fantasies and your favorite sexual memories help you to get to the bottom of whatever your biggest stuff is. But this isn't all that I help people figure out. I mean, PS Tech was designed for phobias. It was designed for people with PTSD. It was designed to help people release their addictive tendencies because, you know, addiction comes from pain. You're trying to numb the pain that you have, or you're trying to fill an emptiness that you feel. So if you can clear the programming and the bad memories and the beliefs that are creating that addiction for you, you no longer have the compulsion to continue going after that thing that you thought was, you know, filling you up and fixing your problem or numbing it out.
Right.
So that's what I've gotten more into, you know, lately is just, you know, absolutely this is great to help people get to the bottom of their biggest stuff, but also just in general, everyone has some negative memories that they want to clear.
Absolutely.
Everyone has, you know, fears. You know, we've all got stuff. And so, you know, I've spent all of this year really clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing everything negative that I could think of. Because I wanted to, you know, be able to move through the world trigger-free.
That's right. You know? That's right. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
So, like you know, it can help with, you know, a lot of people are traumatized by the election right now. A lot of people are traumatized by holidays, which are coming up. And so this can help clear any kind of negative memories that you have of your family, any negative expectations you have of, like, what if I get into this discussion with Aunt Sue, and what if that goes wrong? And being able to clear that so that you don't have that fight or flight reaction.
Yeah.
To, you know, and that's what it does. It doesn't clear the thoughts, it doesn't clear the beliefs, it clears your emotional charge around it. So it basically unplugs the emotional charge from whatever thought or memory bothers you.
Yes.
And that's how it works, and that's how it helps, it cures PTSD. You know, I mean, for years, nobody thought there was a cure for PTSD.
And there it
is. But if you can unplug your fight or flight response to that memory, it's gone.
And I also want everyone to realize that you may be in a relationship and you both may feel that you need to do this, you need to take part in. No, that is not true.
Right.
All you need to do is take ownership for you.
Exactly.
And you start.
Yep.
If your spouse decides that they would like to do that, or your significant other, your partner, fabulous.
Right.
But it's not up to you to even suspend that time. How many times have we suspended? Oh, well, you're not going to do it. I'm not going to do it either. You're not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. You don't want to do it. She don't want to do it. We don't want to do it. We're not doing it. What's up with that?
Right. Yeah.
When do you start working on you so your dreams could come true and your life could take an action, right?
And that's, I mean, that's where I had to be
that?
in order to get into any of this stuff, you know, because I had spent 3 years chasing her around going, how can we fix you? How can we turn you back into the person I fell for? How can we get you back to wanting that same thing I want? And after 3 years, I was like, why does this always happen to me? And then I had the light bulb moment, you know, just that realization of, like, that it's me. I'm the one who always needs this.
You took ownership.
Yeah.
You stood up and go, wait a minute, it's not her.
That's what got me into everything that I've been working with to heal myself. And I mean, where I was then and where I am now, it's an incredible shift. And I'm actually, like, happy. I'm actually positive. I have, you know, amazing energy now. That just, it wasn't there before.
That's
you know? And so regardless of what the relationship looks like, I have done the work to get myself to a positive place. And when you get into that flow, your partner either starts to grow along with you or they disappear and you find somebody who is in alignment with you. It is okay. You don't have to be with the same person your whole life. You grow out of people sometimes, and that's all right.
It's sad. It's true. It's transitioning. And that doesn't mean that's a whole nother show.
Right.
But it is. It's a whole nother show. It doesn't mean that because your relationship has ended that the relationship has to end either. And that, again, that's a whole nother show. But I'm so thankful that we've touched on so many different levels here. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, and I hope for my audience, is don't wait for anybody else to make the change within you. Right? Let
Absolutely.
your emotions play your life story, not because you're supposed to be happily ever after with somebody else. I think that's really very tremendous, very, very big, when you could go ahead and gather your emotions, which you're the expert at doing. It says a lot. It fills a lot. There are some out there that have broken relationships because you self-sabotage.
Right.
We self-sabotage. But then, you know, this is also another show where do you end a relationship immediately and do that knee-jerk reaction, or do you go, wait a second, maybe I need to start healing. Just let me start healing.
Right.
And let me take it from there. I'm not ready to give up the relationship, for God's sakes. That's not what I want. But I'm stuck. You don't want to get unstuck? I want to get unstuck.
Right.
Then you go get unstuck. And just like you said, if your partner wants to follow you, they will. If they don't, then maybe you're going to outgrow them. Or maybe you're going to realize that it was you.
Yeah.
You know, as long as
Yeah.
we're willing to
And,
take ownership.
You know, I think too, we get wrapped up in that thinking that they have to do it the same way that we're doing it.
Oh God, can we have
And
30 more
that's-
minutes?
That's not the way it is
That's
either.
not
You know,
the
I mean,
way it
everybody
is.
has their own way
Yeah.
to get where they need to be. And as long as you're doing some level of work on yourself, as
Okay.
long as you're learning and growing and developing, it doesn't have to look the
Okay.
same.
I love that. We're both drinking water. You
Yeah.
hold the cup like this. I hold the cup like this. Cheers. Final words of inspiration to our crowd, because you have just like tickled the insides of me to grow like crazy.
you.
So I appreciate you.
Yeah. So what I always want to leave people with is just the understanding that you're capable of clearing so much for yourself. You really have the power to be able to fix anything that's going on in your life if you just stop looking at the other person, if you stop looking at like what's going on out here and start looking at what's going on in here and in here.
Yeah.
and be able to just go inward and focus on that and look for what it is about you that, you know, is creating pain and misery, which is usually the way that we're looking at something and
Right.
interpreting it. And it may not even be the truth. It's just our interpretation of it. So, you know, really taking a close look at that and clearing everything you
tuned.
can. That
One more time, how
not.
can I get a hold of you?
apriladams.org.
April, thank you so much. Permission to
Thank you.
always be happy.
Thank
And
you.
I just can't tell you enough how much you have fulfilled me, and I have changed. We never said life was easy, but we did say you can be happier. Choices is everything in life. Goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye.
Bye.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.